Hello. Today we are going to talk about questions. Questions. One of the definitions for question is a word or sentence that is expressed to elicit information. Absolutely, that has to be true. And it can be a word because a yes or no can give us information. We ask questions for lots of reasons, because we want to further a relationship, because we need to understand something that's been said to us, or we want others to understand, and so we're asking questions so that they can ask questions. And there are so many different kinds of questions. And I will challenge you to go to the internet and take a look at some of those. There are a zillion of them. Counterfeit questions versus legitimate questions. Those are ones that trap the speaker, if you will, seeking specific kind of answers. One might be, here's one that has an agenda attached to it. It's an agenda kind of question. Oh, hi, are you busy Friday night? And I might say, no, actually, I plan to spend Friday night just relaxing at home, binging on some Netflix. Oh, good. I plan to go out. Can you watch my kids? Really? That's what you're going to ask me? And people feel bamboozled when you do things like that. You could have just said, hi, I have plans to go out on Friday night. Would you be willing to watch my kids? And many times people feel as if they're in a bind when somebody asks them the former question, because now they said they really weren't doing anything, and so you should be able to watch their children. Boo. I have learned to say, for instance, if I said, no, I plan to stay home and watch Netflix and just chill, do nothing. Oh, can you watch my kids? No, my plans are to do nothing and watch Netflix. How about that? So that's a different class and a different story, but those are the kind of questions. There are a zillion of them. Legitimate questions, counterfeit questions. There are different questions for interviews. We'll get into that for next week when you do your best for the job speech. Today, however, I want to talk about two different kinds of questions: dichotomous questions and open-ended question. A dichotomous questions, two-sided if you will, are the yes and no questions. Yes and no. And they both have their place. Absolutely both have their place. A yes and no question, the dichotomous question is one where you're really just fact-finding. You're doing some validation, if you will. Did you eat my last fish stick? That's yes or no. Did you do something, or did you not do something, whatever that is, it's a yes or no. Many times people are being interrogated with a yes or no. Now, sometimes those can be tricky questions too, because the way that they are worded, they're designed to elicit a certain kind of response. Which leads me into the open-ended questions, and that's where we're going today. The open-ended questions are those that prompt conversation. They encourage people to speak more and to share more information, and hopefully doing so without a real agenda. And so the questions I'm looking for you guys to come up with are open-ended. These are questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no. They cannot be answered with a one word. They cannot be answered with, what's your favorite color? Pink. What's your favorite food? Lobster. Had I said, what is your favorite food and why? Why? That opens it up. My favorite food is lobster because I enjoy seafood. I'm a pescatarian and I look for things, blah, 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 blah. So how that opens it up, instead of just lobster, I get to explain why. I don't eat meat anymore, or something. And so I'm looking for there to be seafood in the mix. You will, when you read the assignment, come up with questions that are open-ended. Open-ended. And it's not enough to say, I've seen some questions that say, tell me about your relationship with your supervisor. That's an interview question, for instance. And I guess while that is meant to elicit more of a response than a yes or no, I guess somebody could potentially say, well, we don't have much of a relationship. Now you still don't know anything. Perhaps if we say, tell me about your relationship with your supervisor and how it evolved. Now I'm getting even more, I'm opening it up even more. Open question, opening it up even more. All right. Now, let me tell you about answering questions. That too is very, 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 very important, the way that you answer a question. Here are several key things that I am looking for you to do when you answer a question. One is refer to the question in your answer. I say that because it first allows the person that you're speaking to know that you heard the question the way they asked the question, so that you will be answering what they asked. Imagine getting into an interview situation and you start to answer a question and it is not what they intended. There are times when they will not stop you. They will just mark on their sheet, interviewee did not answer question. You're on a roll, you're thinking you're doing something, and you end up with no points. But it also allows them to say, oh, no, that's not what I meant. What I'm saying is, or they could nod their head like, yes, in agreement, yes. So it lets people know that you understand what they're asking. It sometimes helps people feel valued because they know that you were listening and you understand. It also gives you an opportunity to hear the question aloud so that you can formulate in your mind what it is you want to say. There's one of the reasons for referring to the question in your answer. Also, here's another one. When people are listening to your responses, what if they never hear the question and they only hear your answer? How will they know what you're answering? How will they know what you're responding to? What is your favorite food? Lobster. I like seafood. Okay, so if I just said lobster, I just really, really enjoy seafood. That does not tell you what I was talking about before. But if I say my favorite kind of food is, that's a standalone answer, and that's what you want to be able to happen here. Give examples when you are speaking. Be as concrete in your language as possible so that there's no ambiguity. People understand specifically what you're saying. Also, make sure that when you're finished, that you end the question appropriately so people know that you're done. Nothing worse than sitting in an interview, and you've seen it too, and they're sitting there like, is there more? No, you're done. So then, I could say, if someone says, what is your favorite seafood and why? I could say, my favorite seafood is lobster. I really enjoy the taste of seafood. It is my preference over any other kind of carnivorous action, if you will. I do not eat red meat. I do not eat poultry, and I do not eat pork. I am a pescatarian, and so I look for a range of foods within the seafood realm that I can taste and enjoy. To that end, lobster is probably my favorite. I can broil it, I can grill it, it can be in a salad, it can be so many standalone things, and that is why I really enjoy lobster, and lobster is my favorite seafood. You probably know I'm done now because I've referred almost to that question near the end, okay? That's what I have for this. Take a look at different kinds of questions online so that you can get a better understanding, if you will, of the types of questions that there are out there and the way to answer. You're going to need to practice. Do the assignment, and I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be fun.